Unit 9. Strategy. Track 7.
So, what's your view of brainstorming sessions, Sarah?
I just don't see the point of them sometimes.
Yes, that can happen if the group hasn't clearly defined the issue to be solved, or the session doesn't stay focused on that issue. Ideally, there shouldn't be more than 8 to 10 people per session, and they should be the right people for the task.
And I don't think that I'm at my most creative when I'm in a large group. I prefer to work on my own. Like first thing in the morning when the office is still quiet.
Now, that's not an uncommon feeling, but, when it's done well, brainstorming is a powerful tool. Yes, Martin?
I really like working in groups because the dynamics are different. I think it's a really helpful way of, generating lots of new ideas in a short amount of time.
Well, essentially, the idea is just that, to generate as many ideas as possible.
In our meetings, it's always the same people who do all the talking, though.
The facilitator or chairperson should try to get everyone to contribute, even the quietest people. It's also crucial that he or she encourages all the ideas, as wild as they may seem.
Yes, but most of the ideas people come up with are completely impractical or just stupid. I think we waste a lot of time in these kinds of meetings.
Well, don't spend too long discussing any one suggestion to keep things moving. And all participants should try to have an enthusiastic and uncritical attitude to others' contributions. If someone is too critical, the others aren't going to feel comfortable about being creative. So, try and suspend judgment until later, after the session. Then you can study and evaluate the ideas. Let's try a short practical exercise. I'd like you all to think of new ways to promote your brand. And Sarah, could you write all the ideas on the flip chart?
Sure.
Thanks. So, who'd like to get the ball rolling?
I've got one. How about adverts on the sides of all the buses and bus stops around the city centre? It could be good for business.
That's been done before.
I just thought I'd make a start.
Thanks, Martin. Remember, as I was saying earlier, the rule is there are no bad ideas when we're brainstorming.
Unit 9. Strategy. Track 8.
Before we go on, just let me interrupt you for a minute to tell you about Einstein and his colleagues. They spent years brainstorming with each other, sharing their ideas openly and honestly by using some ancient principles of group communication. It seems that Socrates and other Greek philosophers used to sit around brainstorming and debating issues, but their discussions didn't usually get out of hand. Why? Because the participants followed the 7 principles of discussion established by Socrates. He called these principles koinonia, meaning spirit of fellowship. They were: 1. Establish dialogue. 2. Exchange ideas. 3. Don't argue. 4. Don't interrupt. 5. Listen carefully. 6. Clarify your thinking. And finally, number 7, be honest.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but I'm no Einstein.
Yes. Well, back to where we left off. Does anyone have any more promotion ideas?
Unit 9. Strategy. Track 9.
As I was saying, we can't just carry on with business as usual. The main issue here is that we have an image problem. The research says it loud and clear. People think our stores and our products are old-fashioned.
Yes, we've relied too heavily on our reputation for quality, value and service over the years, and that just isn't sexy anymore.
Hang on. Those are our core values. It's what's made R&F what it is today.
Absolutely, and I'm not suggesting at all that we lose those values. It's more a case of adding to them. I'm thinking of innovation. We need to move with the times, show that we have new ideas.
Yes, I like that.
Our challenge is to meet the needs of the loyal older customer while anticipating trends in younger fashions and lifestyles. Women especially are shopping by attitude rather than age these days and are far more willing to experiment, for instance, by shopping online.
I think advertising is key to our recovery plan. I'll admit we've made some disastrous decisions in the past that have probably added to our outdated image.
Yes, and maybe we need to hire a new advertising agency for this one.
Yes,
Get
good
some
idea.
fresh ideas. I really believe a good advertising campaign will go a long way to reviving our fortunes.
That and innovation in our furnishings, food and clothing brands. Drop some of the old brands and introduce new lines. Get celebrities to advertise our new ranges.
And let's communicate ideas through the campaign. Remind people what we stand for, that they can always trust our brand. R&F is the same but better, you know?
I think so.
It's also important that the marketing strategy focuses on multiple key areas, including food, that accounts for 30% of our turnover, and women's wear and home furnishings.
Good idea. Okay. Since you guys have started, let's brainstorm some more ideas for our new marketing strategy.
Unit 9. Strategy. Tracks 10 to 15. Manager 1.
Our operating costs are always going to be higher than the LCCs. For one thing, we're flying to popular destinations that involve higher airport taxes and route costs. But we could try and weed out some of the poorer routes and reduce the number of landing slots in low season. Then we could switch our aircraft to new opportunities, like having more slots on popular routes in Europe and the US, and expand into the Asian markets. We could also think about having a dual brand structure. I mean, we could develop a low-cost subsidiary airline aside from our own main brand. That would allow us to protect valuable European routes from being lost to competitors.
Manager 2.
We have to reduce maintenance costs on our fleet. If we ordered more of the same models, it would be cheaper in terms of spare parts and staff training. We've been trying to negotiate prices with our main aircraft manufacturer, but I wonder if we should change supplier.
Manager 3.
Stella has been operating for more than 40 years. The airline has an excellent safety record. We've also got experience and expertise that the low-cost airlines just can't match. And we've built our reputation on a quality service to our customers. We need to focus on the passengers who don't mind paying a bit more to travel in comfort, especially on the key long-haul routes where the European LCCs can't compete. Well, not yet anyway.
Staff Member 1.
We could generate ancillary revenue streams in the same way that the LCCs do. I'd charge for in-flight catering. After all, you'd never expect any other form of transport to provide you with free food and drinks. I'd also start charging for more than one piece of check-in luggage. That would offset some fuel costs. And some passengers will be prepared to pay for advanced seat booking and for upgrades. It needs to be done carefully, though. I mean, passengers will just downgrade to the LCCs if we're seen as being just the same as them.
Staff Member 2.
This is not the first time the airline has restructured, and I doubt it'll be the last. Morale is rock bottom right now. We know what cost reductions mean, job losses and worse pay and conditions for the rest of us.
Staff Member 3.
We need to hook up with an airline in the expanding North Asia and Asia Pacific markets, where we have very few routes. In fact, I hear that we're already in discussions with Victoria Jets, the Australian carrier. Both airlines could do with a bigger network so we can compete with larger rivals.